The rhythm is hypnotic. The steady click-clack of steel wheels against iron rails, the blurring landscape of green fields and distant horizons, the gentle sway of the carriage. You are sitting by the window, watching the world slide by. Then, the rhythm breaks. The ground beneath the tracks simply vanishes. You look down, and there is nothing but a 1,000-foot drop into a dark, jagged abyss. Your heart hammers against your ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the sudden silence. The train tilts, the metal groans under the shift in weight, and for a heartbeat, the entire carriage hangs suspended over the void. One small mechanical failure, one rusted bolt, and the journey ends in a free fall. This is not just a commute. This is a gamble with physics and fate. Across the globe, there are routes where the tracks defy gravity, where nature waits to reclaim the steel, and where every mile is a brush with disaster. Today, we count down the 11 most dangerous railways on Earth. From the thin, freezing air of mountain peaks to the violent spray of crashing ocean waves, we are going to places. The descent begins now. Number 11 brings us to the Qinghai-Tibet Railway in China. It holds the title of the highest railway on the planet, climbing into a realm where the atmosphere itself turns hostile. At this altitude, the air is so thin that oxygen levels plummet. Passengers struggle for every breath, their chests tightening as the train climbs higher into the frozen sky. The carriages must pump supplemental oxygen into the cabins just to keep everyone conscious. It is a battle against the very air you breathe. Moving to number 10, we find South Africa's Outeniqua-Chucho train. Here, the danger shifts from the sky to the sea. The tracks cling to a narrow, precarious strip of land squeezed between jagged mountain walls and the churning, violent ocean. When coastal storms roll in, the scenery changes instantly. Massive waves lash against the iron rails, sending spray high into the air and soaking the steel. The train vibrates as the tide hammers the foundation, turning a scenic coastal ride into a desperate, grinding struggle for stability. At number 9, we encounter Japan's Aso Minami route. The tracks wind through the shadow of an active volcano, a landscape that pulses with hidden heat. Every departure here is a roll of the dice against the Earth itself. A sudden eruption or a minor tremor could swallow the tracks in seconds, burying the path under ash and stone. You watch the crater from your window, waiting for the mountain to wake, knowing the ground beneath the train is as volatile as the magma churning below. The danger is not just in the air, but in the very foundation of the route. Moving to number 8, we face the Devil's Nose train in Ecuador. The tracks are carved into a sheer, vertical cliff face in a jagged, zigzag pattern that defies logic. The train must reverse and climb, inching along a path so narrow that the wheels seem to hang over the edge of the void. You feel the heavy lurch of the carriages as they shift direction on the steep incline. The metal groans under the strain of the climb, and every turn feels like a death trap. One slip, and the train would tumble down the rock face. Number 7 takes us to the Cumbres and Toltec Railroad in the United States. Here, the tracks are perched precariously on the edge of crumbling mountain passes, where the earth seems to dissolve into dust under the weight of the steel. There are no guardrails to catch a sliding carriage. You press your face to the glass and look down, seeing only the jagged drop into the void. The train moves with a rhythmic, unsettling sway, and every vibration feels like it could trigger a landslide. One slip of the wheels, one shift in the track bed, and the entire train tips into the abyss. It is a journey defined by the absence of protection. At number 6, Switzerland's Pilatus Railway defies the laws of physics entirely. This is the steepest rack railway in the world, climbing at a terrifying 48-degree angle. It feels less like a train ride and more like a vertical ascent into the clouds. The cabin tilts so sharply that you are forced back into your seat, staring up at the sky as the world below shrinks into a miniature landscape. The gears grind and bite into the track, holding the train against the relentless pull of gravity. Every foot of progress is a battle against the incline. At number 5, Argentina's Tren a las Nubes, or the Train to the Clouds, pushes into the thin, freezing atmosphere of the high Andes. The air here is so sparse that every breath is a conscious effort. You look out the window to see the track suspended over dizzying, bottomless drops, with nothing but open space between the steel rails and the valley floor, thousands of feet below. The train moves slowly, a fragile metal spine stretched across the sky. The danger only intensifies at number 4, the Georgetown Loop Railroad in Colorado. This route forces the train into a tight, 300-degree turn that coils over a deep, dark valley. The bridges here appear impossibly thin, swaying visibly under the immense weight of the steel carriages as they creep across the span. You watch the support beams flex, hearing the rhythmic groan of metal straining against the pull of the earth. Every turn is a gamble with gravity, where the bridge feels more like a suggestion than a solid path. The ground below seems to recede, leaving you suspended in a precarious loop, where one structural failure would send the entire train plummeting into the shadows of the gorge. It is a relentless test of engineering, where the margin for error is measured in inches. At number 3, the Chennai-Ramaswaram route in India presents a feat of engineering built directly over the open sea. The tracks stretch across the water like a thin, dark thread, connecting the mainland to a distant shore. During the monsoon season, the environment shifts from a scenic crossing into a volatile trap. The waves rise, churning with dark intensity, and begin to lash against the underside of the bridge. You watch from the window as the horizon disappears behind a curtain of heavy, gray rain. The sea swells, climbing higher until the water seems to meet the level of the tracks themselves. The train slows to a crawl, its wheels humming against the metal, but the sound is swallowed by the roar of the wind and the crashing surf. You are no longer on a journey across land. You are a tiny, isolated island of steel fighting the tide. Every carriage feels heavy, anchored only by the narrow path beneath it, while the ocean presses in from every side. At number 2, the White Pass and Yukon route in Alaska transforms the journey into a frozen nightmare. The tracks are buried deep beneath layers of packed snow and jagged ice, creating a surface that offers no forgiveness. As the train edges along narrow, wind-whipped ledges, the temperature drops until the metal of the carriage begins to crack and moan. Suddenly, the wheels lose their bite. A patch of black ice, invisible and slick, sends the massive steel frame into a terrifying, uncontrolled slide. You feel the carriage tilt, the weight shifting violently toward the outer edge of the path. Through the frost-covered window, the world tilts sideways, revealing the sheer, vertical drop into the valley below. The train shudders, metal grinding against stone as the brakes struggle to find purchase. Every inch of movement feels like a gamble with physics, where a single miscalculation would send the train tumbling into the abyss. You watch the edge of the ledge disappear beneath the wheels, realizing that the only thing separating you from a lethal freefall is the fragile, icy friction of the rails. Finally, at number 1, we reach the Death Railway in Thailand. This is not merely a journey, it is a passage through a landscape scarred by history. The very soil here is heavy with the memory of those who labored to carve these tracks into the mountainside during the Second World War. The most chilling section is a rickety wooden bridge that clings to the sheer face of a cliff. As the train rolls onto the timber structure, the wood groans, a sharp, splintering sound that vibrates through the floorboards beneath your feet. You look out the window and the horizon vanishes. There's only the dizzying, vertical drop into the valley floor far below. The bridge seems to sway in the mountain breeze, its supports looking thin and fragile against the vast, empty space. Your head spins as the train inches forward, suspended over nothingness. Every rotation of the wheels feels like a gamble against time and gravity. The air is thick with the weight of the past, and the silence of the abyss below is absolute. It is the ultimate collision of human endurance and reality. These 11 paths represent the absolute limit where fear and thrill collide. You have seen the frozen ledges of Alaska, the volcanic shadows of Japan, and the treacherous, suspended bridges of Thailand. Each mile traveled on these routes is a calculated risk, a moment where the thin margin between a scenic journey and a catastrophic freefall becomes razor sharp. You have felt the vibration of the tracks, the sway of the carriages over empty space, and the biting cold of altitudes that defy human comfort. Now, the question remains. When you stand at the station, watching the steel wheels bite into the iron, what do you see? Do you see the allure of the unknown, the magnetic pull of the abyss, and the raw, unfiltered adrenaline of a life lived on the edge? Or do you see the silent, steady promise of the ground beneath your feet, offering a safety that these tracks can never provide? The choice is yours. Would you dare to board these trains, Or is the stability of the Earth the only path you would ever choose? Tell us in the comments which of these routes would be your final destination, and subscribe for more journeys into the unknown. The tracks are waiting, but the decision is yours alone.